In Shvetashvatara Upanishad, a strange mention of bhakti comes. Generally, bhakti is not mentioned in Upanishads. We have karma kandas in the Vedas, upasana kandas, and jnana kanda. Jnana kanda is the Upanishads. But in Upanishad Shvetashvatara, a mention comes. Yasya deve para bhakti yatha deve tatha guro tasyaite kathitha hi artha prakashante mahatmana. The one who has bhakti for his guru, just as he or she has bhakti for the divine, to such a person, when this knowledge is given, will it shine, prakashante, will it shine in the mind of that seeker. Even if the knowledge is given by the guru, if the shishya does not have the right kind of attitude of devotion towards the guru or towards the divine, the meaning will not reveal itself. How many ever times the guru may repeat himself, or how many ever books the shishya may read. So the very first criteria or eligibility for a seeker to realize that knowledge of the truth is bhakti. Now what is bhakti? Bhakti is born out of the dhatu bhaja. Bhaja means to revere, to adore, to worship. Whom do we revere? Whom do we adore? Whom do we worship? Someone whose qualities are much superior than ours. Someone whose qualities are worth emulating. Someone who is an example for everyone. Who is of value. Who is good. Who does good. These are the things that will inspire others to revere, to adore such a person. So when we think of God or a guru, we think of them as the supreme most manifestations of the highest virtues that a human can ever exhibit or practice. And above all is selfless love. Because all other virtues are embedded in this one virtue of selfless love. That's why we always keep on repeating, develop selfless love for all. Love is God, God is love. And spirituality to me is selfless love, selfless service. We just heard that what is our way of spirituality? Not just doing worships, not just doing chanting of mantras, not merely doing various kinds of rituals, yoga or austerities. But our definition of spirituality is expression of that selfless love in the form of selfless service to all. God is selfless. God gives everything without any expectations, any desire for any return. If possible, if we understand that love of God, we will develop bhakti for God. But many of us are incapable of understanding the purest love of God. We generally go to God for what reason? When there is a trouble coming our way, we immediately remember God. So God is mostly we treat God as our wish fulfiller, not our well-wisher. We want Him to do what we want Him to do. And if He does that, we develop bhakti. But that's the lowest kind of bhakti that one can develop. It's a very transactional bhakti. Because you get something, you give something. This is a transaction, this is not bhakti. When God gives us without any conditions, out of love, we also must love God selflessly without putting any conditions. That kind of love, that kind of adoration, that kind of reverence for the Lord is true bhakti. Otherwise, bhakti is of various kinds. Guru bhakti is there, Matru bhakti is there, Pitru bhakti is there, Acharya bhakti is there. So you can think of bhakti in varied ways. But bhakti largely begins when you adore someone for what they are, what they are capable of, or what they are doing for everyone. So you see that manifestation of supreme qualities in someone or something, and you develop love or adoration for that person or that thing. So that is the way of bhakti. And the highest of all kinds of love is selfless love. So the one who develops selfless love develops true bhakti, is the basic premise on which this chapter is founded. Now, why between Bhagavad Gita, so far we have been going quite well. And as we mentioned earlier, first six chapters generally deal with work, karma yoga. The next 6 chapters deal with upasana or bhakti. And the final 6 chapters deal with jnana. If we see from our perspective, it is work, worship, and wisdom. The first 6 chapters tell us how to work in this world, because we cannot escape work. Everybody must work. Even the one who says, I don't work, I am sleeping, even that person is working because he is identifying himself with an ego, which makes him eligible for the work and the results of it, karma and karma phala, because of ahankara. So Krishna teaches Arjuna how to work in the first 6 chapters, more or less. That's the larger theme, though many other topics have been covered. But the next 6 chapters, he takes him a little more within, talks to him about the workings of the mind, talks to him about the workings of the universe, talks to him about how one should lead one's life in dedicated devotion to the divine. And slowly he brings Arjuna to realize who he truly is, who Krishna is. And the epitome of that revelation is what we saw in the last chapter. After the Vibhuti Yoga, when Arjuna is curious to ask, can I see that form of yours which you talk about in your Vibhuti Yoga, that you are everything, you are everyone, you permeate the entire universe. So the curious disciple Arjuna very humbly puts it to Krishna, if you think I am worth it, I know I am not deserving of it, but if you would be kind enough to show me out of your sheer compassion for me, that form of yours which is all pervasive, please do so. And Krishna also, out of his love for Arjuna and out of a great mission which he wants Arjuna to fulfill, he obliges and gives him the Vishwarupa Darshanam. Now, as we studied, Vishwarupa Darshanam is not about seeing one large form of God with several hands, heads, mouths, eyes, and fire spitting out of the mouth, or people going into his mouth. Those kind of terrible scenes are not the scenes of Vishwarupa Darshanam. Our understanding of Vishwarupa Darshanam is that you see God in everything and everyone. Whichever place you go, you only see the presence of divine. Whomever you meet, you only feel the presence of divine. Whatever work you do, you only do as an instrument of divine. In everything, pratibodha viditam matam amrutatvam hi vindate. In every aspect of life, in every experience of life, you only experience the divine. That is Vishwarupa Darshanam. And Arjuna has had that kind of darshanam. Of course, he also had the very fierce form of Krishna in the form of Kala himself, who has come to annihilate everyone who is on the side of dharma, adharma, whatever is going on. And he is very afraid now, and he prays to Krishna to calm down and go back to his calm form of 4 hands, Vishnu's form, which is his Ishtadevata. And Krishna again obliges, withdraws this fierce Vishwarupa form and goes back to his Saumya, the calm and composed and the serene and the sweet form of Lord Krishna. Arjuna is happy and he's grateful too. He says, while I'm very happy that you have shown me this, but I am also afraid at the same time. And now I realize who you truly are. And many mistakes I have made while dealing with you, thinking you are just a cousin, a friend of the same age. And I've called you by name, which I shouldn't have done. It's disrespectful. So please forgive me like a father forgives his erring son, like a friend forgives his beloved friend, like a lover or a husband or a spouse forgives the beloved. So please forgive me like that, he pleads, and Krishna is so kind to forgive Arjuna and also reveal to him that this thing that you have experienced just now has been seen for the first time by you alone. Even gods have been waiting to see this form of mine, but they haven't got this vision. You are lucky to have it. So to whom much is given, much is demanded. All this is preparation to prepare Arjuna's mind to implicitly obey Lord Krishna. To do what? To do Dharma Samstapana, which is the reason why Lord Krishna has even incarnated. And at this point in time, Dharma Samstapana is about fighting the battle and winning over the Kauravas and establishing the kingdom of the Pandavas and restoring justice to the people. This is the Dharma that Krishna wants Arjuna to establish. So unless Arjuna obliges or Arjuna obeys Krishna implicitly, he cannot achieve this. So Krishna is doing anything and everything to bring Arjuna to obey him. Obey him willfully, not out of force, but out of source. You do it simply because that is what will make you dear to God. That is what will bring happiness to God. And for that one reason, you should do everything. Sarva karma bhagavad prityartham. So this is the idea of bhakti. And Krishna says towards the end of the final chapter that Naham Vedaina tapasana danena cha yajyaya. By all these Veda, tapasa, dana, or worships, shakya evam vido drishtum drishtvanasi mam yatha. Nobody is able to see me the way you have seen me just now. Not by all these. So how do you see me? Bhaktya tvat anyaya shakya aham evam vidho Arjuna. By bhakti alone one is capable of visualizing me like this. How? Me as everything. Sarvatra pani padam, sarvata ukshi shiromukam, sarvata shrutiman loke, sarvama vritya tishtati. In everything, everyone, all hands, all eyes, faces, all existence is divine. This is possible only for the person who is having bhakti, Krishna says. And what do you do bhakti? Jnatum drishtum cha tattvena pravushtum. What happens when you do bhakti? Jnatum, you get to know of it. Drishtum, you get to experience it. Know of it means theoretically also you know God exists everywhere. But do we experience that? Not most of the times. So jnatum drishtum, you are able to see it as if hastamalaka, as they say, like the amla on your palm. To that extent it should be clear. That extent the truth should be available or revealed to you. That is drishtum and pravishtum. Tattvena pravishtum. You completely understand, assimilate it, and what? You experience it. You experience it all the moment. You feel the divinity within and without. This is possible through bhakti. This is not possible through other ways, is what he is telling. Arjuna is curious what is bhakti about. And very simply, towards the end of the last chapter, he summarizes, Mat karma krid mat parmo, mat bhaktaha sangavarjitaha, nirvairah sarva bhuteshu, yasa mameti pandava. Who attains me not that attains Lord Krishna, go to Mathura or Vrindavan and live with him. Not that attainment. Attainment in terms of realizing that Krishna is everything, Sarvam Krishnamayam. Not the physical Krishna, the Parabrahma Rupa Krishna. He is everything. That understanding comes to whom? Who does everything, mat karma krit mat parmo, who considers me as the highest and does everything for my sake. Mat bhaktaha, who is devoted to me, who adores me, who worships me. Sangavarjita, who is unattached. And nirvairaha, who has no hatred, no enmity towards anyone. Sarva bhuteshu. Yes, the one who is such a person, Mahameti Pandava, O Pandava Arjuna, such a person reaches me. It means such a person realizes me, no one else. So in short, he gave just 5 qualities here and said these are all things required. These are the preconditions for you to realize that divinity otherwise, which I have made you realize in a snap of a finger by my grace. Didami divyam chakra. I give you divine vision and you realize. But this is not possible for everyone. This is an exception I have made for you. But for all others, what is the way? Develop that bhakti which helps you develop these qualities. Though he mentioned only 5 of these qualities, in the bhakti chapter, it is a huge elaboration of the qualities of a true devotee. Close to 40 qualities are there to practice. And only then Krishna would consider you as his devotee. So that is the beauty of this chapter. Krishna says, whom do I call as my devotee? And not just a devotee. Priya Bhaktaha. Dear devotee, not even dear devotee, Ativa Priya Bhaktaha, dearest of the devotees. Whom do I call? That elaboration is this Bhakti Yoga. Listen to it with Bhakti, because even if I explain to you and you don't have Bhakti, you're not going to understand anything. Fault does not lie with me, does not lie with this book. It only lies in your mind if you don't have that purity and adoration, reverence for the knowledge that this Bhagavad Gita is giving us. Another book that is very critical is Narada Bhakti Sutras. And Narada Bhakti Sutra starts like this. Bhaktim Vyakhyasya. Let me explain. And who is explaining? Narada is explaining to whoever is the disciple over there. And Narada says, what is this bhakti? He says, Yatvasmin Parama Prema Rupa Amrita Swarupacha. This is purest of the love, Parama Prema. Not the love that has some conditions in it. You love me, then I love you back. Not like that. You give me this, then I love you. This is Parama Prema Swarupa. It is beyond all these givings and receivings. Something very different. And Amrita Swarupa, so it's immortal in its nature. Immortal means it does not diminish, it does not get destroyed. It remains the same, come what may, whatever be the situation, circumstances. It's not the bhakti that your desire gets fulfilled, you break 2 extra coconuts on that day. This is not that bhakti, is saying Amrita Swarupa, because such immortal, eternal bhakti will also make you immortal. You will also attain that Amritatvam. He goes on to say, Yam labdhva puman siddho bhavati, amruto bhavati, trupto bhavati. Siddho bhavati, he has attained everything, there is nothing more to be attained. He has perfected himself or herself. And amruto bhavati, he has attained immortality. There is no death for such a person. Body will die, but the self-realized person does not face the death in terms of destruction. And trupto bhavati, is ever satisfied. There is no desire left, nothing to ask. Yam prapya na kinchit vanchati, na shochati, na ramte, notsahi bhavati. Such a person does not desire for anything because all his desires are fulfilled in one desire of having known the truth, known God or known divinity. Na shochati, never comes to sorrow. Any loss is not a loss for such a person. He sees everything as himself, everything is divine. And na ramate, nor he gets excited and starts enjoying things. So he is not the enjoyer nor the person who suffers. Suffering and enjoyment does not exist for such a person. He is always equanimous. Notsahi bhavati, doesn't get excited. It means doesn't get depressed also. For when things happen in your favor, you get excited. Things don't happen, you get depressed. Such things don't exist in a person who is truly a devotee. And yajñātva matto bhavati, is always in a state of bliss. Matta means he has lost the sense of the world that is around. Always lost in that divine feeling. Stabdo bhavati, he is always as if stupefied in wonderment of this beauty of the entire universe in which only divine exists in so many forms, so many names and nothing else. Such a person is so amazed by this truth, by the realization of the truth, that he hardly speaks much. Nativadi. And Atma Aramo Bhavati. Ultimately he finds peace within himself. Atma Arama Bhavati. Find that peace within oneself. You don't find peace outside, you find peace within. And that is the Falashruti of Narada Bhakti Sutras. It starts with giving all the qualities and then says, okay, now let me explain how do you attain that bhakti, what all happens. Whereas Krishna has started the other way around. He says what all you need to do and what all qualities you will attain because you will do all these things. This is the other way around. Narada Bhakti Sutras straight away puts the goal in front. This is what you will attain if you attain bhakti. Krishna starts explaining how to develop that bhakti, what are the different kinds of bhakti, and how these qualities of bhaktas will start manifesting in such a person who is following this path of bhakti. So let us see what are the various kinds of ways that one can develop or worship God or adore God, revere God, and thereby develop these divine qualities of a true devotee. Arjuna uvacha evam satata yuktaye bhaktastvam paryupasate ye chapyaksharam avyaktam tesha ke yoga vittamaha. Arjuna is a curious disciple. See, that is what is good thing about Arjuna. Generally when I take a question and answer session, I say, do you have any questions? Everybody is mum, silent. No questions asked. And then but somebody starts asking questions, then the next fellow gets the courage, and then there is no end to asking questions. But Arjuna is not like that. He's curious to know. He wants to learn. He's not ashamed of asking questions. Even if it sounds stupid, it's okay. So question is important for that child. Teachers should encourage children to ask questions. Even if the child has not been explained this before, if he has not understood, it's the teacher's responsibility. A good teacher will explain. So imagine how many questions Arjuna has asked so far in last 11 chapters. Now the 12th chapter again begins with a question. And the question is, you just now said bhaktas will attain this kind of vision. They will realize the truth. They will realize you in everything. But I want to know, one side I have seen you as Krishna, the normal Krishna, who is my cousin and my friend with human body and all the limitations that come with it. On the other side, you have also shown me your Parabrahma Swarupa, the form in which you exist in everything and everyone, not as this physical Krishna, but as the ultimate supreme Godhood. So tell me, between those who continuously worship you as a form, like the Gopikas have worshipped, like Draupadi has worshipped, like many other devotees of Krishna have worshipped you, between those and those who worship you as the Aksharam Avyaktam, the indestructible, unmanifest form, which of them are better yogis? See, Arjuna's question is very clear. between those who worship you as a form and name and those who worship you as formless and nameless divinity, which of the two are the better of the yogis? This is a Yoga Shastra. This is a textbook, a manual on yoga, Bhagavad Gita, which tells us how to become a yogi in different ways. So he's asking yogi who connects oneself to the divine, whose mind is always yoked to the divine, which of these two is a better one? The form one or the formless? This question is very important, very relevant, and Krishna knew that this is going to be a point of conflict for people for times to come. So let me get this answered through Arjuna in Bhakti Yoga. And the very first question is, form or formless? Which one is better? And how does Krishna answer? Krishna is very, very intelligent and also a very, very deep teacher. He doesn't teach things on the surface, superficially. Anything that he says has deeper meaning. And then, what does Krishna say at this point in time? He says, Maya Veshya Manoye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopeta Te Me Yukta Tamamataha. He says, those who have completely dedicated, fixed their mind on me, Maya Veshya Manaha, completely dedicated and fixed their mind on me, Nitya Yukta Upasate, continuously they meditate on me. Upasana is not taking an arati plate and waving in front of the form. Upasana is continuous meditation on a thought. That is Upasana. So whoever does that kind of continuous meditation on me by fixing his mind or her mind on me, Shraddhaya, with Shraddha, with great faith, with great sincerity and reverence, Parayopetaha, Te Me Yukta Tamamataha, who are completely involved in service to me through Shraddha like this, such a person is Yukta Tamaha, he says. It is he or she is better positioned, better placed. That's all. He is not saying they are greater than those who worship me in the other way. He says they are in a better position than those who worship the formless. That's what he is trying to say. What did Arjuna ask? Yoga Vittamaha. Who is the better? This student is your favorite or I am your favorite? Krishna is saying no favorites here. This student is better positioned because of his approach to this problem. He can solve it in an easier way. This fellow also will solve it, maybe in a longer way, a more difficult way, more complex way. But that doesn't make him favorable to me and unfavorable or a favorite or not favorite. So Krishna has very clearly answered that these people who worship me by fixing their mind on me as a form, and they continuously meditate on me, because when they meditate on Krishna, everything they do as what Krishna would like. They won't speak, act, or think in a way which Krishna would not like. So they're continuously absorbed that way. And with great Shraddha, with great sincerity, they continue to meditate and work for me. Such people are better positioned to be the yogis that you ask for. And the next loka he says very clearly, Ye tu aksharam anirdeshyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatra gamachintyam cha kutastam achalam dhruvam sanniyam yendriyagram sarvatra samabuddhayaha te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhuta hite rataha. Now he is also revealing that those people who worship me, yetu, aksharam, the indestructible form of mine. Physical form of Krishna is destructible, right? He also died a human death at the end of his life. Not that form. Akshara form, the one which will never be destroyed, the energy form, the cosmic consciousness, Brahman. Anirdeshyam, which cannot be described, which cannot be pointed towards. Avyaktam, which cannot be manifested in a material world, in a material sense. Those who worship that. What else? Sarvatra Gama. It goes everywhere. It means it pervades everything. Achintyam, it cannot be understood with the mind, cannot be thought of with the mind as the faculty. Kutastham, yet it is the firm. Though it goes everywhere, it is also firmly fixed. It means it cannot be changed. It's unchangeable. Achalam, it does not move, immovable. Dhruvam, it is eternal. Shashvata. The one who worship me like this also. Sanniyam yendriya gramam. How? By keeping complete control on their senses. Indriya grama, all the senses, not just one sense. Sometimes eyes are in control, tongue is not in control. Tongue is in control, ears are not in control. But sanniyam yendriya gramam, complete control on all the senses. And the mind, sarvatra samabuddhayaha, and they have equanimity in all situations, samabuddhi. Samabuddhi means in good and bad, in favorable, unfavorable, happy, sad, all circumstances, there is equanimity. Remember, Pragyavadascha Bhashase. In the beginning we have about who is a Pragyani, who is a Brahmagyani. You read in second chapter. Atmanyeva Atmanatushtaha, all that. So such a person who is Sarvatra Samabuddhayaha, te prapnuvanti mameva, they attain me. Sarvabhuta hite rataha. And how are they? They are also always engaged in the welfare of all the people. Sarvabhuta hite rataha is also one of the motto of our Gurukulam. Our children are supposed to develop this quality. What are the other three? Sarve jnanopasampannaha. All kinds of knowledge they should have. Sarve samadhita gunaihi. All kinds of good qualities should emanate out of them. Then Sarva Veda vidaha, dhiraha. They should be knowledgeable, all kinds of knowledge. And dhiraha, they should be the people who are pursuing God. That is dhira, discriminating and pursuing realization. And finally, why should you have all these qualities? Sarvabhuta hite rataha. They should be willing to work for the welfare of all. So this is what Krishna is saying. Those who worship me as the indestructible, immovable, the eternal, the ever unchanging, ever present Brahman, and have equanimity of mind, complete control on their senses, and always engage in the welfare of all, they also attain me. Now you only tell me which looks easier. Actually both are same. At the final analysis, both will turn out to be the same. If you worship him with all your heart and love and devotion, how can you do anything wrong to anyone? How can you harm anyone? Because everything is Krishna for you. Or you think of him as indestructible Brahman, permeating everything. Even then, how can you do anything wrong? Because he is only in everything. So between the two, he is explaining to Arjuna, because it's a genuine question. Should I worship you as this form of Krishna whom I have been knowing for 89 years? Or should I worship you as the Vishwarupa that I saw just now, that you permeate and pervade everything? Which is the better way of, which is the greater way of reaching you? And he says, both are there. First one is to which worship me, fix your mind on me, completely dedicate all your actions to me, with Shraddha, with faith. Think of me and do everything. Then also you attain me, and those who worship me as the indestructible, they also attain me only. They don't go anywhere else. They don't attain anything. As Ramakrishna would say, as many paths, so many goals. That is, jitne mat utne path. As many ways are you want to go and reach God, that many ways are available. So there's nobody's way is better or lesser. But some may be easier, some may be tougher. That's all Krishna is saying. If you really go back and look at the definition of bhakti by Advaitins, see, we are Advaitins, right? I hope you understand what is Advaita. We have Advaita, we have Vishishtadvaita, we have Advaita. Dvaita is form and name. Vishishtadvaita is in between. Yes, there is a God which is indescribable, infinite and all that. But he also is present as a spark in every jiva. But jiva is not Brahma, that is very clear. Dvaita, jiva is jiva, Brahma is Brahma, let us not mix the two. Vishishtadvaita, jiva is a part and parcel of Brahman. And Advaita is jiva and Brahma, not different from each other. Just another modification. That's all it is. The Advaitins will think of this indestructible Brahman and worship that Brahman or meditate on that Brahman. Dvaitin will think of a form and name. They want to do Archana, Vandana, Pujana. That is their way. So this is the doubt and question. But Shankaracharya, he says very clearly, Moksha Karana Samagryam Bhakti Reva Garishasi. Of all the ways to attain moksha, moksha is the goal of life, right? I hope everybody remembers and knows it by now. Mohakshaya, that mukti is the goal of life. Whatever we do is only for attaining that. So for all the way, amongst all the ways to attain that moksha, bhakti is the best way, Shankaracharya is saying. Now all those dvaitas will jump in joy. See, I told you bhakti is important. We need a god and a goddess. Otherwise you can't attain moksha. Then immediately Shankaracharya clarifies. Swaswarupa anusandhanam bhakti ritya vidhiyate. Is from Viveka Chudamani. He says, but what is bhakti? Let us understand first. Swaswarupa anusandhanam. To search, to investigate, to inquire who you are, who you truly are. That is bhakti, he says. Not inquiring which god is in which temple is more powerful, which god fulfills more wishes. That is not bhakti anusandhanam. Who are you? Who am I? As Ravana Maharshi would say, who am I? That is true bhakti. So this is the highest bhakti, Parama Prema Rupa, Amrita Swarupa. This is the bhakti that you know who you truly are, and then you finally realize by investigating you are none other than Brahman. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. It's only a modification. Like gold can be modified into various ornaments, but it's all gold at the end. Like that, Jiva and Brahman are not different. This is the investigation that you must do and find the answer. So that is his idea of bhakti, of Shankaracharya. But at the same time, Shankaracharya has written a lot of stotrams. Some of them we also chant. You have on his Guru he has written, on Devi he has written, on Shiva he has written. Name it, Annapurna Stotram is there. So he also has acknowledged the idea that that same unmanifest Brahman can also be manifest Brahman in the form of gods and goddesses. But you must see the deeper significance. You should not see it superficially. You must see the deeper understanding. So Arjuna does not have deeper understanding still. That's what it means. Otherwise, why will he ask this question? So he is asking this question that between the two who worship you as a form and those who worship you as a formless, who are the better yogis? And Krishna answers, see, those who worship me as a form, they are in a better position to reach me easily. The other ones find it a little difficult. That's what he tells in the next sloka.